something like RRB, what it does is it grounds us in shared values and agreements where we can start to talk about these wounds, these pains that have been sitting there for so long.
Restorative Response Baltimore is a conflict resolution and community building organization that provides ways for people to collectively prevent and resolve conflicts and incidents, ranging from bullying to auto theft to assault.
What I'd like to see us do is make restorative responses, restorative justice more available and at the forefront of the minds of people in Baltimore, to know that this is a place to turn, that this is what justice could look like instead of the state institutions that are traditionally used.
One of the biggest challenges of working here is just convincing people that this process actually holds people accountable and actually gives victims, people that have been harmed, the opportunity to heal and move forward. A lot of people rely on or think that they can rely on the criminal justice system, and that is kind of the default thinking about how to address conflict and crime. And so we just want to show that this is actually an alternative and show spaces where it has actually worked.
I think this work is important because I think as a society, we always see the people who's done harm or people involved in crime or conflict as disposable. Or as the monsters that we want to kind of lock away and to separate from the rest of the world. And ultimately, this work reminds us that no one just becomes a monster, or that no one is disposable, and that even with someone has committed a crime or something heinous, they are still a person. And it's important that we see that humanity and start to get to the root of it, right? And recognizing what are the systemic issues that has led this person to where they are, and how can we as society not only hold them accountable for the harm that they've caused, but hold ourselves accountable for the harm that we've caused to them.
Restorative Response Baltimore brings together people in conflict or impacted by crime to talk and be heard through a process called community conferencing.
Community conferencing can be used in any area where there's conflict. In communities, in schools, the school police force makes referrals, the Baltimore City Police Department, the Department of Juvenile Services, the State Attorney's Office, workplaces, communities where people live together, co-ops, anywhere where there's people and there could be the opportunity for talking about things and working it out, we will take a referral.
My first conference observation a couple months ago, late last year, observing our conferencing director, Laurel Bacon, two young girls who were referred to us, altercation, physical, ended up in the conference together with their parents and grandparents, respectively, supporting them. Within 10-15 minutes, we get to the bottom of why the one attacked the other, and by the end, everybody's hugging each other and thanking Laurel and thanking us. So that was kind of like my first experience with an actual conference, but also kind of drove home the importance of this thing, because as a result of that and as a result of them following the agreement that they came up with together, this is a young lady who's not going to enter the system, the carceral system, as a result of participating in that conference.
I was working with juveniles in Baltimore City, and Restorative Response Baltimore, then known as Community Conferencing, but now Restorative Response Baltimore, was offered as an alternative to the traditional juvenile justice system. So in a way, it was used as a restorative justice model that was a viable alternative to putting them into traditional probation models or supervision by the Department of Juvenile Services, but instead tried to focus on working with the youth of the city and working with the individuals that may have come in contact with them in the juvenile justice system, and trying to bridge a gap between two sides that traditionally would be in opposition, but through Restorative Response Baltimore were used to put them together and to come to a resolution that was beneficial for everyone involved.
Restorative Response Baltimore works in schools, the justice system, and in the community using a restorative practices and restorative justice framework.
Another thing I think Baltimore should do is if you are harmed and you're contacted by the state's attorney or the police, you request restorative responses from the beginning. Don't accept it as a last-minute substitution. You should push very hard to divert cases or to not have them enter the system at all.